Okay, so earlier today we talked about, sorry, trying to set up. Okay, earlier today we talked about Freud and Erikson. It is important to know that there are some widely accepted things about both theories and some things that are not accepted. For instance, it's believed that Freud's idea of the unconscious causing us problems in the future is true. The theorists believe that that part is absolutely true. Erikson, the idea that development continues through life, is continuous, is believed to be true also. What is not accepted or what is rejected is that Freud says, childhood stages do not have an effect on later development. They don't believe that's true. Research has shown that not to be true. Also, it's important to know that Freud based his theory on his children, his boy children. So he really does not take into consideration the development of females. He does not take into consideration multicultural aspects or social aspects. His research is only on his boy children. The same with Erikson. He really only focused on men and not women. So again, that is considered to be a fault of both theorists. In some places, Erikson's information seems to be vague and not testable. Now we're going to switch to the next perspective, which is behavioral. That is considered to be called classical conditioning. And what they're looking at there is that there's observable behavior that is in relation to an external stimuli and environment. Another behavioral perspective is B.F. Skinner. So Skinner is considered a professional in certain areas. His specific theory is called operant conditioning, and he's the one who has brought lots of research and information to behavioral modification through reinforcement and punishment. So he's the one that's tied to positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, positive punishment, and negative punishment. The book explains what those are. They're incredibly gray. So if you have an issue with those, please let me know. I'll try to clarify it for you. I'm not thinking it'll be on a test. Also in behavioral is Albert Bandura, also a well-known name. He talks about social cognitive learning theory. His belief is that we grow by learning through imitation. We learn from the people around us, what we observe. One of his main terms is modeling. Modeling just means that we show the child a behavior and then they model that, and that's how we lead to development. Both Watson and Skinner are considered to be pretty valid because their behaviors can be measured and quantified. Quantified means that we can count it in numbers. Both have provided a lot of information on how to work with children who have intellectual impairments. Some people believe that Watson and Skinner's social learning theories are too simplified and that there's way more to human behavior than just copying somebody or modeling after somebody. They believe that these two theories do not necessarily include free will or internal influences such as moods, thoughts, feelings. Now we have the cognitive perspective, and this is from Jean Piaget, also very popular. He believes that we process by expanding our understanding of the world. He believes that we have cognitive milestones that we have to meet in order to develop. and his main terms are assimilation and accommodation. Now, the information processing approach is not going to show up further in the book, but it's interesting to note that this theory has our brains tied to the idea of a computer, that we process information by acquiring it, by learning it, by storing it in memory, by retrieving it, by symbolizing it or labeling it, and then we work with that information. Sounds a lot like a computer. We're not going to talk about this one a whole lot because it doesn't really follow through in the book. This one, also in the cognitive area, talks about neuroscience approach. And there's not one specific theorist for this. This one is a fairly new theory. And it talks about the neurological activities and how we use our brains to problem solve and learn. It's believed in this theory that genetics and brain structure are individualized. Each person's is different, and that causes differences in how we think and learn. This is a big area, a big theory that's focusing on autism, schizophrenia, and ADHD. This is a very scientific. They do brain scans to see how people think, what areas of the brain light up, how bright they light up. Up in new and upcoming theory. So there's widely accepted. Piaget is pretty widely accepted for a lot of his thought processes. He does not believe in emerging skills over time. He thinks that once we have an IQ, a cognitive quotient of what our brains can do, we kind of stick there. Whereas other people say, no, we're still able to learn and grow as we age. Piaget also feels that all these stages are universal across the world. Everybody goes through the same stages, and other theorists say, no, that's not true. Each culture, each country, each group of people grows at a different rate. We're going to skip that one. Cognitive neuroscience. This one, again, is upcoming and is really a strong, because it's based on numbers and science, it seems to be stronger than some of the others. Okay, now we have the bioecological approach, and this is Yuri Bronfenbrenner. He believes that not only the people surrounding us, but the people surrounding the people has an impact on who we are and how we develop. And he uses micro, eco, exo, macro, and chronosystems. So I'm going to do my best to explain this to you. So here is the individual, so that would be you, and you are impacted by your sex, your age, your health, etc. The microsystem around you, these are the things that you interact with: church groups, neighborhoods, peers, school, family. The next group out is the exosystem. His belief is that the exosystem has an impact on this group, which has an impact on you. For instance, say you're a child, your parents are here, right? If their exosystem, friends in the neighborhood, or there's a legal issue or a health issue, that's going to impact on your family, causing maybe chaos or stress, which will then impact on you. That's why the arrows are going in and out. Same in reverse. You will have an impact on your family, which may have an impact on your family's friends. And then the chronosystem are the big things, are more like the rules of the world. How do the rules of the world have an impact on you? Now we run into social cultural approach, which is Vygotsky. Vygotsky is big on believing that children learn by play and cooperation. that their development, their brain development, is because of social interactions. So reciprocal transactions between members of the environment means that two children play together, they're interacting together. One is complementing or correcting a peer. Zone of proximal development is a term that you learn in education, and that is a measurement of where the child stands in development. We talked about it earlier. Giving a child a task that is beyond their zone of proximal development will lead to frustration. So these theories are widely accepted. They've helped to do a lot of research on these things, and there's it can be seen. In the bioecological perspective, there's some disagreement. It doesn't include biological factors as much as they would like, and it's also really hard to test that neighborhood effect. We can't measure the impact the neighbors of your family have on your family as easily as we can impact how family impacts an individual. Sociocultural perspective is one of the first theories that includes culture. So that is a huge plus. Again, they feel that this socioculture focuses so much on interactions between people that it leaves out the biological part. And free will is not considered. Now we have humanistic, which is Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow. These two focus on your individual potential. They're not concerned about those around you, biological. It really is about our internal thought process. So there's a lot of talk about positive self-regard, self-actualization, and free will in this theory. Some of the concepts are truly believed, for like self-actualization. It helps to describe parts of our human behavior. So here is a slide, again, giving a very quick overview of each one of the theorists, what their thought process is. And in this one over here in examples, they're talking about weight loss and what each theorist or group of theorists, how they would explain it. Well worth reading. There's the rest of them. So which perspective is right? There is no right and wrong. Again, each one is that theorist thoughts, what their views are. It really is okay to say, I believe in Yuri Bronfenbrenner and that our environment completely impacts who we are. But at the same time, there's some biological things that we all have that create changes too. So it's okay to take bits and pieces from each one and believe your own thing. And I think that is it for today. So class 1, session 1 is over. I will post a forum for this section with the video.